Okay, first grade. Today we're going to read The Kite from Days with Frog and Toad. Some of you have read Frog and Toad in your browse bag, and Frog and Toad stories usually came in a group. So the book would have 3 or 4 stories about Frog and Toad inside of it, and it was broken up almost by chapters, but instead it was by stories. Frog and Toad is a fantasy story. And if you remember from class, we talked about fantasy stories could not happen in real life. And we look for those things that could not really happen and animals who talk and act like people. We read a story about a race where we had animals talking and acting like people. Lots of different fantasy stories during the school year. The author and the illustrator is Arnold Lobel, and there's a picture of him. It says Arnold Lobel drew many animals before he came up with the Frog and Toad characters. During vacations with his family in Vermont, Mr. Lobel watched his children play with frogs and toads. Soon the animals were starring in his books. So that's a really neat story to hear how he came up with Frog and Toad. Also over here they talk about story structure. Tell about the characters, setting, and plot in the story. And we've done that at school a lot. And you can probably already tell me who the characters are going to be in this story. Frog and Toad. Good. Okay, we're going to listen to the story now. So here we go.
The Kite. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. "Our kite will fly up and up," said Frog. "It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky." "Toad," said Frog, "I will hold the ball of string. You hold the kite and run." Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the air. It fell to the ground with a bump. Toad heard laughter. 3 robins were sitting in a bush. "That kite will not fly," said the robins. "You may as well give up." Toad ran back to Frog. "Frog," said Toad, "this kite will not fly. I give up."
So already Frog and Toad have a problem. What is the problem that they have in our story? Yeah, their kite will not fly. And did anyone hear on the page before where they said they were going to fly their kite what the setting is? A meadow. Very good.
"We must make a second try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly." Toad ran back across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air and then fell down with a thud. "What a joke," said the robins. "That kite will never get off the ground." Toad ran back to Frog. "This kite is a joke," he said. "It will never get off the ground." "We have to make a third try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down." Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed down into the grass. That kite is junk, said the robins. Throw it away and go home. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is junk, he said. I think we should throw it away and go home. Toad, said Frog, we need one more try. Wave the kite over your head. Jump up and down and shout, "Up, kite, up!" Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. He shouted, "Up, kite, up!" The kite flew into the air. It climbed higher and higher. "We did it!" cried Toad. "Yes," said Frog. "If a running try did not work, a running and waving try did not work, and a running, waving, and jumping try did not work, I knew that a running, waving, jumping, and shouting try just had to work."
So, in the end of our story, they solved their problem. But did it really get solved by running, waving, and jumping and shouting? No, we know kites need some wind to fly, and so probably he just needed to be patient for the wind to work. All right, that's our story for today. I will talk to you soon. Bye.